All right, I think I got it. There's three different.
No, right? You can
Right,
participate.
you're
Though,
a second class citizen here.
Now, I think if you zoomed in.
Are we live?
We're all set.
According to
We're
what
live.
it's saying.
Okay,
Okay.
ready to go.
Your physical presence, you can
Okay.
see them. At least that's the way it has been.
Okay.
It changes.
We all set?
Yep.
Okay. I would like to call to order the Board of Directors meeting for this CRC. No.
Yep.
Yes, CRC. Before I get started here, I want to welcome our new members of the committee. First, I want to welcome Jim Halios, who is our new CEO. And he comes to us from Schoharie County as serving as deputy administrator for the county. And prior to that, with many years of service as the director of Parks and Recreation for the city of Clearwater, Florida. So Jim, thanks. And we look forward to having all your experience and knowledge bring us forward.
Thank you. Looking forward to it, and I'm really excited.
Next, we have Gail Breen. It's nice to work with Gail again.
Yes.
Our paths crossed probably about 20 years ago. Gail is a stalwart in the field of workforce development, serving 35 years as the executive director of the Fulton, Montgomery, and Schoharie County Workforce Development Board. And she's also been the director of New York State Employment Training Institute at Albany, and is a grant writer and brings to us a lot of experience, because if we bring in all these companies, they'll have a need for workforce and workforce development. So her background will be critical in moving forward in that direction. Last but not least is Michael Moore. Michael is a local individual, born and raised in New Jersey, but actually born and raised here in Schoharie County. I said born in New Jersey, and Michael is the vice president of Cobleskill Stone for the past 30 years. So Michael brings a lot of business experience to the committee. He's also active in local politics, has served on the board, village board for Cobleskill, and also the village zoning appeals board. So he brings a lot of local governance experience to the committee. So Mike, welcome.
Thank you.
All right. First order of business is the roll call for the CRC Finance Committee. Yes,
I'm gonna just call off everybody. Mr. Thornton,
here.
Mr. Helios,
Here,
Mr. Trapani,
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Here.
Mrs. Breen,
Here,
And Leo?
Leo,
Yeah, here.
and absent is Charles Finnen.
That is also a new member who couldn't be with us today. First order of business here is tab number 1, review and approve March 28th, 2024 draft finance committee minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
second,
all in favor?
Aye.
We need a motion to approve the annual investment report and move it to the full board for approval. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Yeah, I'm a little confused. Is this only
Finance.
Finance.
finance
committee.
committee?
Yes.
So actually, it's just
It's
Joe.
just Joe.
Right now,
and
it's
Joe and
it's
Leo.
Joe and Leo. I was
And
Leo.
me.
And Chet.
going to question.
I
I'm
second.
sorry, I should have caught that. Gail, you're not.
Yeah.
yes, I
Right.
know.
So
Right.
Chet's gonna second on both.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Next meeting is the CRC Audit Committee. Members Joe Trapani and Peter Johnson. And the roll call
Mr. Burton,
here.
Mr. Helios,
here,
Mr. Trapani,
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Here?
Mrs. Breen.
Here.
Mr. McAllister is really absent on the phone, and Charles is absent.
Now, the minutes are on tab 3, September 27th, 2023, of the Audit Committee. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Yeah. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
First item on the agenda is the review and approval of the audit report. And I have a motion to move to the full board for approval.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
All in favor? Next meeting is the CRC, Capital Resource Corporation. Roll call vote
Mr. Burton,
here.
Mr. Helios,
here,
Mr. Trapani,
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Here?
Mrs. Breen,
Here,
Leo, Mr. McAllister on the phone, and Charles Finnen is absent.
First item on the agenda is review and approval of June 20th, 2024 draft minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. What tab are we on?
Tab number 5.
Okay.
Now, motion to approve those minutes? We just did.
Yeah. I see.
A motion to approve the annual investment report.
Actually, you have to go back to the motion to approve the audit and the annual financial reports of the audit.
Okay. Confusing the way it's set up.
Oh,
Anyway,
sorry.
annual report. Tab 6, motion to approve the annual report.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the, motion approved. Next item on the agenda. Annual, approval of the annual assessment report. Do I have a motion to approve? That's tab 7.
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion approved. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the assessment for internal controls, tab 8. Do I have a motion to approve internal controls?
So moved. We have to answer the questions, is that right?
Yes,
Do we have to do that right now, right?
yes.
Oh,
I thought
so
it was
our approval, I mean, so some of them are yes and no, or,
Which one?
Have the board members acknowledged that they have read and understood, well, that was for the admission. There's nothing for the internal controls. It would be the
oh, I'm
mission
sorry,
statement.
looking at tab 9. My
Yes,
apologies.
we're not quite there
Right, we're
yet.
not there yet, yeah. Sorry.
So is there a motion to approve the internal controls? You're gonna do this individually.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion approved.
So we're on mission statement. Tab 9.
We have 9. Mission statement and performance measurement.
Just have the questions to answer. Have the board members acknowledged that they have read and understood the mission of the public authority?
Yes,
Yes. The board has the power to appoint the management of the public authority.
Yes.
if these could have been, yeses could have been stated on this, and then we could have voted on that.
Oh, okay.
Just-
Did you want to go through all of them or just go
Yeah,
through?
let's go through the rest of them.
Yeah,
If the board appoints management, do you have a policy you follow when appointing the management of the public authority? And yes, to the
Yes.
extent that the agency exerts education, experience, and expertise. Briefly describe the role of the board and the role of the management in the implementation of the mission. Does that statement hold? Okay. Has the board acknowledged that they have read and understood the responses to each of these questions?
yes.
Thank you, Joe.
Do I have a motion to approve mission statement and performance statement?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Number 9, project review.
Actually, we need to go back to tab 10, the annual review of the committee performance for the past
Sorry.
year. So there's a little bit of work for everybody to do before they leave. Except for the new members. Right, so except for Mike and,
So how do you want to do this? Do you want us to do it here, or do you want us to just fill this out, or?
if you could just do it before you leave. So I have them.
All right, let's go over that. Now we're number 9. Project review. Where do we stand on?
You're on SharePoint?
No, we're on the Colesville Alumni Holdings.
Oh, yes.
Do you want me to do it or you do it?
I can do it. That's fine. We
Okay.
spoke with our attorneys, and there's really nothing that we need to do going forward. They're going to handle it all with the college. I believe the bond is up for renewal, so we have some other information that I'm trying to figure out as far as the attorney's fees and how we can get reimbursed for those. So I actually have a call with Fonda later on today to kind of discuss that, but that's where we're at. There's really no action that the IDA or the board need to take. The attorneys are going to handle everything going forward. It's kind of directly between the attorneys and
Okay,
and if I missed anything, Sarah, feel free to add.
I mean, everybody knows that the call date for the Citizens Bank is August 28th. So from there, it's going to go with the Bank of Greene County. And they have 10 full-time jobs at the dormitory.
Any further discussion with the projects? Do I have a motion to adjourn the Capital Resource Corporation
So moved.
meeting?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right. Takes care of that. Now we're on to the general meeting. Okay,
Again, we'll go through the committees and roll it on to the general.
okay. So the first, call to order the IDA, Schoharie County IDA Finance Committee meeting. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Mr. Burton,
Here.
Mr. Haley.
Here.
Mr. Trapani.
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Here.
Mrs. Green.
Here.
Mr. Mr. McAllister is on the phone and Charles Finnan is absent.
First item on the agenda is the minutes of March 28th, 2024, draft Finance Committee meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
We have to
For the
do
annual
the,
investment report.
we have to move the annual investment report to the full board for approval.
Correct. Do I have a motion to move the annual investment report to the full board?
So moved.
Second.
It'd have to be checked.
Second.
Oh, that's right.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. It's rather confusing to have all these.
I know. I'm getting lost. I apologize.
Buried within these other stuff.
Okay.
So. bear
This
with
is the
us.
biggest meeting of the year, so
Most paper, right?
it'll get better, I know.
Except the data.
All right. We have the audit.
All right. Next committee meeting is the Schoharie County IDA Audit Committee. Roll call vote.
Mr. Burton,
Here.
Mr. Haley.
Here.
Mr. Trapani.
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Here.
Mrs. Green.
Here.
Mr. McAllister is on the phone and Charles Finnan is absent.
First item on the agenda, tab number 3, review and approve the September 27th, 2023 draft audit committee.
And all you have to look at is the highlighted. That's it. So it's Joe and Peter.
So moved.
I'll move the approval of the minutes.
All in favor?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the audit review and approval. Audit report. Tab 4. Audit board report and financial statement documents.
Yeah.
Have a motion to approve to the full board.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. That takes care of this committee, right?
We just need to adjourn.
Motion
that's
to
right.
adjourn.
Adjourn it.
Move adjournment of the audit committee.
I'll second it.
Motion carried. All right. Second committee meeting is next page, right?
We're at the full board roll call.
is the Schoharie County IDA general meeting. Roll call
Mr. Burton,
here.
Mr. Haley,
Here.
Mr. Trapani,
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Here.
Mrs. Green.
Yes.
Mr. McAllister is on the phone and Charles Finnen is absent.
Reading and approval of minutes of the July 18th, 2024 board meeting, tab 5.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Bills and communications.
No, that's fine.
The CEO monthly activity report.
Sure, I'll give you guys a little update as I head into my third week. Have I done 2 full weeks? I've been doing outreach to a lot of our partners, really trying to get engaged with what we're doing in Shad Point. So I've spoken with Scanel and then also with MRB to get a good handle on kind of where we're at in the process and how things are going. So been working with them, reached out to SSI as well to kind of see where they stand on their project, and just been working with Sarah on doing a lot of outreach. As far as Shad Point, also been working with Supervisor Hempel to bring him up to date and get information going through MRB so we can go next steps in the process. And we'll be looking at that later on in the agenda, and I'll be bringing that up to date for you guys. Again, doing that outreach, trying to meet with those people in our community to see where they stand and to just kind of soft intros. So that's really what I've been doing, is just reaching out soft intros and trying to get things moved over into my name from Fonda, so that way we're all on the same page going forward, and hopefully I won't have any Zoom issues like I had this morning. But it's been great. Everyone has been very receptive, and again, I'd just like to thank Sarah. Has been fantastic. She's really helped me through this. The audit has been kind of consuming all of her time and for the last 2 weeks. So I'm glad our head's going to be above water as we move forward into this week, and just really looking forward to getting a grasp on what we have next. We just did the board in my office on what we have, some pending items that we're going to knock off in these next few weeks. But just again, thank you everybody for the warm welcome and been able to work through a lot of things and do some good outreach.
Sounds like you've been busy.
I keep telling you, it'll calm down. After this week, it'll be better.
Report of the treasurer, tab number 6.
Sure, we have the cash position report for that's under tab number 6. We had a CD that matured on the 29th of July. So that was our CD with LPL Investments. So you'll see in the money market account, there's a larger amount of money in there than usual. Sarah and I met with Peter Pachilli over at NBT. And as we went through looking at different CD rates, the best that he could come up with at the time was a 4%, just due to the rate decline. So it's a 4% on a 12-month. Really, one of the issues that there was a couple 5%ers that were open, but the issue that we ran into is that we're already invested in a majority of those. So the FDIC rules prohibit you from having over 250,000 in one account. So that's kind of, we were a little hamstrung with that. So, but the good thing is we were able to get in there, and then before a further interest rate decline, we were able to get in there and secure that one for 4%. As you'll see at the end, we have 2 Trustco ones that are coming up soon. Actually, Chet and I are going to go over to Trustco on Friday and meet with them to get on as an authorized signer, and then we'll determine what's available where we can move those assets in as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions with it.
So it seems that 4% is what we might get with Trustco.
Yeah, so that's, again, it was a Goldman Sachs at 4%. He had mentioned, he's like, well, I can get you into some municipal bonds, but after speaking with Sarah and then going through the minutes previously, I know that's something that the board at the time was not really interested in. So I wanted to lock in that rate at that 12%. So that'll be reflective in next month's cash report. I actually spoke to Peter yesterday because he had been on vacation to make sure that we were locked in and where we needed to be, and we're all set.
Leo, do you see that 4% as being the realistic amount?
Well, at this point it is, and I don't think going forward, we're gonna look at anything higher than that, that's for sure. The August 30th one that's coming due, though, we were gonna look at, maybe another year, not longer than a year, though.
Okay.
Unless you can get 4.5, which I don't think you will.
Very good. Any other discussion on the investment report? Okay. LPL signer resolution, tab 7, we need a motion to approve.
I'll have to do a roll call.
Okay,
Mr. Burton,
here.
Mr. Trapani.
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Here,
Mr. McAllister is on the phone. Charles Finan is absent. Mrs. Green?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Okay. We need this resolution, or have you all read through this?
Have you all?
Didn't we vote on this? I guess no, because of Jim. Yeah. So who's the signatory? It's Jim and the chair, right?
Yes. So,
Do you need a motion on this?
Yes.
Yes, I'll move that.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion approved.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
It's important that we do that just for transparency and our finances.
and the bank actually requires it.
Yeah. Everything has to be double signed and to prevent against fraud, establish fraud risk prevention.
Can I ask a question? Have you thought about putting a third person on so that if the first or second person is either ill or away, and you need a second signature? Thought about that?
Yes,
Don't
we
you
do
think
on
that's
most
important?
accounts. We do have 3 people.
Okay.
This is just a one-off, like. Okay, choose some signatures.
Right, so you have, okay,
Yes, we'll add a third person.
anything can happen.
We need to get the committee, I think, organized, the new members on, and we can take another look at stuff once the change, the
Makes
switch.
sense. Sarah.
And I can sign this.
Yes, you can. this time. And you're on for another meeting, one more time. Okay, good. Okay,
So
where are we?
we just approved the signer resolution.
Right.
So we're on item 6, report of the committees. First committee is audit committee. We have a motion to approve the audit annual financial reports from the audit committee.
I will make that motion.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next item is the motion to approve the annual investment report from the finance committee. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to item 7. We have the annual report, tab 8. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second.
This is the Schoharie County ID annual report, fiscal year ends June 30, 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the annual assessment report, tab 9. We need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion approved. Next item on the agenda is assessment of internal controls. I need a motion to approve tab 10.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Item 10, authority's mission statement and performance measurement, tab 11.
Any other questions at the end?
yeah, right.
All right, so we're going to do these now.
Want me to roll through it?
Yes.
Have the board members acknowledged that they have read and understood the mission of the public authority?
Yes.
Yes.
The board of directors has the power to appoint the management of the public authority.
Yes.
If the board appoints management, you have a policy you follow when appointing the management of the public authority? Yes. Briefly describe the role of the board and the role of the management in the implementation of the mission. The board provides oversight, establishes policy, and directs management. The agency management is responsible for the day-to-day operations while working closely with the board to ensure the activities are in keeping with the agency's mission statement. Has the board acknowledged that they have read and understood the responses to each of these questions?
Yes.
We also have to fill out this.
Yes, you do.
Before we leave.
Again, this is one that.
No. Mike and Gail, it makes sense.
You like to get the
Until next year.
experience.
Get a little practice
I
in.
did read some. I have to confess, I read some of my copies this year.
All right. Item 11, annual review of committee performance, tab 12. I guess that's what we just spoke about, right? Need to fill out the annual
Yeah.
performance evaluation, tab 12. All right. Unfinished business.
All right, so I will give you a SharePoint update and then discuss their draft proposal that we have now. The traffic study has just been completed by Passero Engineering. And then as soon as we get that, that'll be forwarded. As soon as that's buttoned up, it'll be, MRB will forward that over to us. They're working on a second proposal to complete the archaeological investigation. And again, they'll, that was done on an accelerated schedule, so that way they could get with the different agencies that go through. So again, when that proposal is completed, to do that second archaeological, they'll send that over to us, and then we'll be able to bring that to the board to have take a look at. The wetlands delineation, they did tell us that a lot of the projects that they're working on with the Army Corps of Engineers have been severely delayed. So again, they're continuing to try to ping them and follow up with them to get that information as we go forward. And they'll continue with that follow up. And same thing with all, as you can see on the chart, when they don't have any response from agency, you'll see a couple where it says following up for response. MRB continues. They're not, as discussions with MRB, they are not required to give the response now. But then when we start the seeker process, they have to get the response. So they'll be on a timeline. And then the next steps are the environmental quality review. So that's where we have the attached proposal. I'll go over that with you. First, before I go into that, any questions about the August update on the SharePoint project? So the draft proposal is we've looked to have a full environmental assessment review done, and then so once we had that done, the purpose of it was determine if any additional engineering or environmental reports would be required, and then MRB would work with those agencies to complete the review. So under subsection A, you'll see the things that are required. So it's really updating that full environmental assessment form, and then updating the supporting documents, associated mapping, and then evaluate and complete a draft FEEF Part 2, which is based on the FEEF Part 1, which has already been done. And then MRB will prepare that environmental report in accordance with the DEC standards, kind of lays out what they have, cover table of contents. And then they're committed to doing 2 virtual workshops with the Schoharie County IDA with us, and then the town of Cobleskill and other town staff to prepare information in advance of a meeting, and then do a meeting summary, distribute that to all properties. So that's the first proposal of 40,000. Then the second part of the proposal is the actual submission. When they're done with they begin their environmental review coordination, and then it outlays the environmental review process, and then they're going to coordinate in-person meetings with the town through their board meetings, and then also through the town zoning process to try to get this through to the next step. And so that subtotal will be 35,000 for that. So we're looking at a project total of about 75,000 to get this environmental review done. Part of also which allows in these plans is they'll be doing a stormwater and sewer design for, kind of a rough design based on the entire scope of the property, the entire footprint. So that allows us, again, this really allows us to do some great site preparation and, almost having a turnkey site when everything's done. So I'll be happy to answer any questions on.
Jim, this is an addition to MRB.
Yes, correct.
180,000.
That is correct.
So this would be a total of 250,000.
Correct.
I understand that we have taken on responsibility to do all of this.
Mhm.
It seems that should the town of Cobleskill be contributing to any of this? Usually, when these things happen, it's the developer paying for a lot of things.
Mhm.
And it just, I'm wondering if we've only got $1 million
Mhm.
and 250,000 of it will be gone on this.
Mhm.
Whether or not there would be an interest or willingness on the part of the town of Cobleskill to offset some of our expenses.
I can certainly approach them on that and find out about their willingness to do that. And again, kind of coming in late on this proposal, I think the thought from when I was speaking with Fonda was, again, to kind of prepare this as a turnkey operation and not have to wait on the town, to have this done and then get it over to the developer. And again, yes, this could be something that eventually the developer is going to have to do, but we are, we're again still in that pre-sale negotiation with the developer, and we are looking to recoup some of these costs with the developer through that pre-sale negotiation. So the thought would be not just, set when the property is turned over, or either if the developer takes our rights, to purchase that property, the thought would be that there would be some type of reimbursement based on all of this that we had done. Now, again, the percentages, that's to be negotiated, but we are looking to recoup some of these costs so that they can go back into IDA funds.
That's more realistic, I think, than getting the town of Cobleskill to.
Probably.
And I think that was the thought. Good point, Joe.
Is that part of the negotiations with Schoharie?
Yes.
And where does that stand now?
We're going back and forth on the pre-sale agreement. There's some items in there that, like any negotiation, that they want us to bend on and that we want them to bend on. So I had a meeting with them about 2 weeks ago to go over some pending items that they're looking at. There's about 2 or 3 items, and then we'll come back and I'm going to send speaking with our attorney yesterday, so finalize some things, and I'm going to speak with Fonda this evening to kind of get some groundwork on where he was at in the process with them, and then we'll send our draft proposal over to them and then hear back. But that is part of when we had spoken last week, kind of my intro call with the developer. They were amenable to having us being reimbursed for this site work that we're doing ahead of time.
Okay.
So some part of it, but not.
Yeah, not 100%. Again, probably. I don't want to speak out of turn because I'm not really sure, but I know that Fonda had mentioned it at the minimum, trying to get 50% of those reimbursable funds.
So that Mike and Gail know about this. We have possibility of some money from National Grid.
Correct.
And there's an application in for money from New York State, also dealing with due diligence and so on and so forth. What's the plan on using all of this money if you get reimbursed?
Well, the hope with the reimburse on this money that we're using, the plan for the money,
Yes.
the plan for the money would be that it would go back into our accounts to fund future projects. So that's kind of the thought on that. When we go through with this, when the property sells and then we get reimbursed on that amount, that would be the thought, is that some of this, these funds that we've already expended, that we get reimbursed on, that it would be able to go back into IDA funds and then be used for future projects.
So say that
Would be
50%
nice.
that would be outstanding, Niagara Mohawk and the state reimbursed for that, then it would be a wash. But if they reimbursed for more than that, there would actually be money to go back in.
Come back in.
That's the hope.
Hope is a good term.
Yeah.
Since these are ARPA funds,
Mhm.
is that the idea that you're kind of washing them through and then whatever is left over becomes?
Exactly.
Yep.
And I don't want to say the way that we get around it, because we're not really getting around it. It's that, yes, we did have these ARPA funds, but, part of the sale of the property goes through that, we've done these site improvements, so we feel we're entitled to ask the developer to, this is stuff that they would have had to do anyways. So we feel that we're entitled to ask them to almost like an administrative fee, basically, hey, we've had this done. So that way that allows us to, as part of the, I wouldn't say sale proceeds, but as part of the process, that allows us to keep those funds, where if it was, a direct wash with the ARPA, then the argument could be made, well, they're ARPA funds. And it's like, yes, they are, but this is part of the site prep, the due diligence that was done. So it's not a direct correlation.
Has the first payment been made to the owner of the property? We've got a 3-year possibility. I think it's 60,000 a year.
I believe, I'll have to double check, because I think that it was when it was initiated back, I want to say November of last year is when this was done, that an initial payment was made then, and then we'll have another payment due on the anniversary, which would be upcoming this November, and I can get that amount.
Okay, and those are all 60,000.
Correct, yes.
We get reimbursed for that too.
Yes, that's going to be part of the proceeds when that, I keep on using the word sale, but it's really a transfer of our sale agreement. So as part of that transfer of our sale agreement would be those funds, and then reimbursement for a portion of these funds as well.
Do you think that Skinnell is looking to have a client before they actually commit to purchasing the property?
From what they've told me, their general practice is usually they do not go out and solicit a client. They're out advertising now, but they will not sign an agreement with a client until they have the property under their control. Because I asked them straight out, I'm like, well, what's your process? How does this work? Do you? So he's like, no, usually what we do is that we will advertise, and then, once we determine that we have a client, he's like, then we commence with the sale and then start the process. And his to go back to this part and the due diligence on it, this allows that process to speed up, because if it was not, then, they could, again, once they take control of the property and then have to do all this, you're looking at maybe another 6 months to a year on the project timeline. And, again, we want to get that started as soon as possible.
From what I understand, in talking to people at the county in general about economic development, the two major concerns are power and water. Do you envision the IDA having to expend a significant amount of money following through on those? Are we gonna have to invest in substations? Are we gonna have to provide money for the extension from Route 7 to the site?
No, and I don't see that. And that's actually what makes this and this other environmental that they're doing really important is that it allows them to go in. They have a general idea, MRB, of what the power is and what the, wastewater gallons of water that we have. So once they do their design on this, then we're gonna have a set standard. So then Scannell will be able to go out and mark, because I'll give you a perfect example. We get stuff from New York County EDC. I got something the other day about they were looking for a site and they wanted 30 megawatts of power. So I had reached out to MRB and, I'm like, I'm new to this. I'm not really sure. He's like, yeah, you'll be lucky to get 10 to 15 because we're not going to know for sure until we do the kind of the site plan. But what this will allow is that site plan will allow them to know, okay, this is what fits in there. And then Scannell can decide if that limits their pool of potential, buyers for that site, then that's on them to invest more money to put that in there. But it's as far as I'm concerned, and as far as the, what we've done in the past, it's really just prepping this site so they know where it's at. And then, once that site is, they commence and it's kind of turned over to them, then they'll be responsible for upping it if they need to. But speaking with MRB, he said, your power usage and the amount of wastewater and just potable water that you'll be able to have over there, he's like, yeah, he goes, I don't see you have any problems. The ones that really takes us out of are like the battery storage or generation, things like that are, and again, I think it'll dictate what the market will dictate what we can put in, what Scannell can put in over there. But yeah, that's our thought is that no, we're not going to be involved in that. That's going to be something the developer does. So this, again, this allows them to kind of reframe on how they want to look at things.
Okay. Because with High Bridge,
Mhm.
off the Schoharie exit, there's a rather significant ask to the state,
Mhm.
in the vicinity of $6 or $7 million in order to provide adequate water for
Sure.
things. Do you anticipate applying for that kind of money from the state for the Shad Point development?
Yeah, if it's available. I mean, our thought process is that whatever we can get done pre-sale on that, while we still have it under control, we're going to apply for the grants to do it. We want to get that site as ready as possible. But again, it's got to be within reason and not, we don't have the funds to make those improvements. But if we can secure grant funding for it, then, by all means.
And also, do you think it's going to be the IDA that is the sponsor of that kind of thing, or will this devolve onto the town of Cobblestone?
That's a good question. If you're looking at electrical or, grid improvements and then certain wastewater improvements, I think it could go either way, just depending on who has the capacity to do that, at the end of the day. Again, that's something that we probably need to have a discussion with them and to look to partner with them on that, because there'll be some things that, once we get to that point, maybe a little bit out of our purview that we want to enlist, their help on.
So I think we could use up to $1 million pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, the state would be the first, would be the agency. I'm not sure what the agency is, but the state should be more on board on this because it inures to their benefit also, so.
Exactly, and that's, kind of about like the fast grant and having those things is as much as we can get, we want to be able to get those site improvements going forward.
Will the water district be addressed in their report?
Yes.
Because that's got to be added to the existing water district for the town of Cobblestone.
Yeah, they'll have that. That's part of the environmental review process, and also when they're doing their site plans to kind of bring them in and then, like you said, address that to make sure that it's the capacity's there and then that they're able to, they're comfortable with what the developer's planning to do on that site.
There's also been discussion between Supervisor Hempel and the mayor of Coalskill in terms of what capacity might be and that type of thing. So I think Warner Hempel has kind of laid the groundwork a lot previous to what we've been involved with to make sure that there wouldn't be any glitches in that particular aspect. So a lot of that has been taken care of ahead of us. Not that there's not a lot to still to do, but
Yeah, well, it's the construction part of this that's going to
Yes.
be really
Right.
expensive.
Mhm.
I think there's probably capacity in Coalskill.
They were, going back when I was on the board, they were looking at possibly dredging the Dow Reservoir, which, as far as I know, never got done. So that might come up as an issue as they do their study and review the capacity.
So,
That's a good point.
Jim, did you say that a requirement, water requirements
Mhm.
for battery storage projects, are they significantly higher than other things or?
No, again, and I kind of mixed those two. I apologize on that. It was one of the ones that we were looking at was dairy processing, and that's the one where the water came in significantly high. So the dairy, it's like finding that sweet spot because you'll have the dairy processor who their electrical needs are really good, but their water needs are
Yes.
immense. And then you have the either, battery storage or battery creation, for lack of a better word, where they're, and the good thing is with some of these is that they're not looking at getting that 30 or whatever megawatts right away. It's they want to be able to scale up. But again, MRB has the ability to look at it and be like, yeah, the National Grid, there's no way they're going to be able to get that to you. So, it's just kind of finding that Goldilocks zone because we have where, yeah, our water usage is low, but we need 30 megawatts of power versus, oh yeah, we need, I'm just throwing a number out there. We need to be able to get rid of 300 gallons of wastewater, but we only need 10 megawatts. So again, I think that's why having this study done allows the developer to kind of put a box out there, when I say a box, of who's going to be able to fit in where and how they can solicit that property correctly.
Good.
any further
All right.
questions? Sounds like we're moving ahead significantly. Great, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we need to,
Again, I plead ignorance because I don't know how the purchasing threshold's on here. So Sarah, do we need a motion to approve me signing this agreement with MRB?
How does,
You're gonna have to sign something.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. That's why I wanted to bring it first.
So you have a motion?
Yeah, motion allowing the executive director to sign this agreement with MRB for a total of $75,000 for the site work and advanced environmental studies and coordination with state and town as well.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Good work, Ben. Thank you. New business. No new business?
No, I don't have it.
Other?
Are we getting our checks from Sharon Springs Inc.? We got, what did we ask for, 10,000, something a
we
month?
got 12,
Yeah, we got 12.
10 was to go back to the state, and
Right.
2 was for our legal fees.
And so they're up to date.
Yes,
That's
we're
good.
just waiting for financing,
Yeah, yeah.
or
Well,
to
they've
hear
been
the
waiting
word
for
whether they
financing.
do or don't.
Yeah,
So they have what, till the end of the year?
yeah, that's good. All right, glad we're up to date.
Summary of the Beekman building. That is all taken care of.
Yes, we have a new renter. Yeah, we received our rent checks and utility bills and everything's, he's very pleased about being there. So yeah, we're good shape.
And he's gonna be fixing the water runoff thing,
That's the plan.
so.
I'll touch base.
So
with
this
when I
is
see him.
the cidery.
Yeah,
operation.
cidery.
For, Mike
Yeah,
and Gail.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we need, he says he's gonna do it. Is it, it's in our lease, isn't it? Isn't it?
I don't remember if it's
I
actually.
think we
in the
required
lease.
it.
Did we?
Yes.
I believe so. I think I read through it last week.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's, it's a side improvement they're supposed to be
So
doing.
maybe we need to say, you know, when you have a plan, when you're gonna do it.
And as part of my outreach, I can do that. as well.
Yeah, it's all the news. Yeah.
Is there anything else to come before the board? Well, today is your last day, Joe.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your service. We'll miss your legal wherewithal, expertise, and questioning us and everything. We appreciated that. So
It's a
thank you
pleasure.
very
It's been-
much.
It's been interesting and it's great to work with talented people who care about getting this economic development which we need in this county. It's been fun. Thank you.
How many years have you been with the board?
About 14.
14, yes.
So when do I get my Rolex? Ready? You know?
Not till you're 90, I keep telling you.
Okay.
I was, the last time I was in New York City, I almost got, there was a guy selling. Street.
Just like that, yes.
Yeah, right.
But a policeman approached him.
I would be fun.
All right. Also, Sarah, thank you very much for coming as acting CEO in the interim between Fonda and Jim.
Well, you're very welcome.
Not surprised.
She really,
Always
Sarah
been there.
did the bulwark and keeping things together here and with all this activity.
Well, I couldn't have done it with all of you and Leo. You know, thank you very much for letting me intrude and for your signatures and your advice. And so I appreciate all the team support.
You're welcome very much. Thank you so much for your work.
Yes,
Thank you.
brother.
And to echo Chad, I will, and I told Chad this, and I wanted to let the board knows, I've never walked into a position where everything has been organized the way that Sarah's had this organized.
Well,
And Fonda as well, yes. You don't want to forget Fonda. Just the ability for me to find things and the way that things are all set up, it's laid out. And just kudos. And kudos to the board for enabling, your staff to be able to do that. I was blown away. I remember the first day I came up to work, my wife's like, how was your first day? I'm like, I can't believe this. I'm like, everything's so organized. I'm like, I said, instead of hunting for things, I said, I can just find one thing here. It's all set. And it's just really, just want to say that I feel like it's set up for success and just want to thank everyone. Especially Sarah.
And you found your way to the men's room.
I did. That's the most important thing,
All right. Is there any more business to come before the board? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. That's my last motion.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Rather extraordinary that you did all of that in 61 minutes.
Yeah, this is the worst.
Without